All right, kids, now how about we do some scripture readings from the Book of Mormon?
The pod.
A great price.
The pod.
A great price.
And then I said, you find me another one that smells like that. Anyway, hello, we are back. We are back. Back to the pod of wonderful, great.
Alexa, play Back in the Saddle again. All right, cool, awesome. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Pod of Great Price. My name is Chris Jessup, and I'm an American ex-Mormon reading the Book of Mormon for the first time to a UK atheist by the name of...
Fraser McMinn. Dyslexic, ADHD, atheist. With his friend who is a prostate, right?
Yes. No, that is exactly how it's framed, with a hard R at the beginning. That's very important. Yeah, so I am a prostate. But the premise of the show basically is we read from the Book of Mormon and we react. That's kind of the name of the game, really.
Really is. So yeah, it's just there's a thing in Mormon culture called family home evening, where the family just entertain each other with their various talents. They're very, very talented, and maybe thrown in a little bit of Bible study. Now, Bible study, I've never done it. From what I've heard, very boring. It's a very, very boring thing to do. So we're trying to make it a little bit easier for you.
Yeah, and instead of the Bible, we're going to be reading from the Book of Mormon. And it is the truest of any book we've learned. It's the truest form of any book on earth. And it would have to be at that time just because of logic's sake. But at the same time, it's probably the truest book there is on earth right now, too.
It says it in the book. It's a wild claim. I think if they weren't, realistically, if you're going to make a claim like that, there's going to be some legal repercussions, right?
Sure. And why would they put it in if they didn't have that already on lock?
And here's the great thing about the Mormon culture. Not a single problem with the law ever.
The state of Utah has long been the home of the Mormons.
I love the gospel with all my heart.
Mark Hoffman found document after document.
Worth $1.5 million.
First explosion ripped through a downtown office building, killing one man. The second explosion outside of a holiday home claimed another life.
Never once.
Not once. Never had anything. Never embroiled in any kind of schemes or anything.
Warren Jeffs is our president. He was the prophet. And how could you place a human over God?
Just straight-laced folks. The smock is clean, so to speak. Not
wonderful singing voices.
Yeah, absolutely. So to catch everybody up, last episode in chapter 7, Nephi and his brothers went back to go snag Ishmael and his daughters in order to get some wives, and they had to go back to the tent of Lehi.
Bloody tent.
This tent. So they're back in the wilderness now, and they are basically on the way to, following the teachings of the Lord and doing what the Lord wants them to do.
And having a bad time, to be honest with you. They're having a pretty shit time.
I mean, you can argue that, but as long as they just follow the Lord's commandments, as we've learned from Nephi numerous times, is that if you just go with it, then it's going to be fine.
It's been a lot of, how like in every single Malcolm in the Middle episode, right? There's the from about 5 minutes in to 10, 15 minutes, it's just all hell breaking loose. Everything's just kind of going awry. And, in the end, I feel like we've had a lot of chapters where we're still in that section of the Malcolm in the Middle episode. That is the Book of Mormon.
You're right on the money with that assessment. But this next one is going to be kind of fun. It's chapter 8, and I'm ready to rock and roll whenever you are, my good sir.
I'm so ready. You've promised me before you said that this is a good one. You're excited about this one.
I'm excited about this one because this one is it's a what could be considered a seminal chapter in Mormon culture. This particular what is outlined in this chapter is talked about a lot in meetings and ways to apply it to your life. And this is you've heard of Jesus walking on water, right? He did a lot of stuff aside from walking on water, but this is like the equivalent kind of story where it's like everybody knows about this story in Mormonism type of thing. You know what I mean?
Okay. So we're at a walking on water episode. Kind
of on the same level of knowledge. I mean, I'm trying to frame it for an atheist. Like, you've heard of this. This is something that, like, if you wanted to impress a Mormon, you would say, "Hey, how about Lehi's dream, huh?" And they're going to be like,
okay, all right, okay. So this is like if you were going to make a movie, this is the scene.
They've already made an animated short about it, but yes. But we'll see how that works with copyright laws and everything else. But I'm ready to rock and roll, dude. You ready?
Let's go. Give me those title scrolls, baby. First
Nephi chapter 8. Lehi sees a vision of the tree of life. He partakes of its fruit and desires his family to do likewise. He sees a rod of iron, a straight and narrow path, and the mists of darkness that enshroud men. Sariah, Nephi, and Sam partake of the fruit, but Laman and Lemuel refuse. About 600 to 592 BC. Already,
the brothers French.
The brothers French.
No.
Always refusing, man.
Refusing. Always. That's just the French. That's what they do. They revolt. There's always a revolution. Okay, they need to be fighting. Okay, it kind of explains that this is behavior that's been going on since about 600 BC.
I don't know if Laman and Lemuel were the ones who invented France. According to this, they didn't. But
I'm not sure. I just think they are French.
Well, I mean, we'll get to it. There's some interesting connections to France and French in general with the Book of Mormon, and we'll get there. This is multiple. Right. I mean, this is me planting a seed of something that we'll be seeing in a few hundred chapters, maybe.
Very, very excited. But also, just the last thing on this, I like the wording partake. I like it.
Yes.
They partake in the fruit because it sounds like drugs. They partook. And
this is a dream, so we'll see how it goes.
Is this a spooky Mormon hell dream?
No, this is not a spooky Mormon hell dream.
Man.
Parts of it are spooky.
Okay.
But, yeah.
All right. I'm scared.
Chapter 8, verse 1. And it came to pass that we had gathered together all manner of seeds of every kind, both of grain of every kind, and also of the seeds of fruit of every kind. And it came to pass that while my father tarried in the wilderness, he spake unto us, saying, Behold, I have dreamed a dream, or, in other words, I have seen a vision.
Oh, okay. I dreamed a dream of times gone by. Now we're getting musical. Okay, now we're starting to see the musical flair and love in Mormon culture. Okay.
Yes, it's already there, right? Susan Boyle has part of Lehi in her. You know what I mean?
I bet she does. All of him. But he we got visions. He's gonna dream.
Yeah, and I like the idea of saying I've dreamed a dream, or in other words, if you didn't understand what I was talking about, I have seen a vision. I've dreamed a dream. That's pretty on the nose twice in 3 words. You say dream twice. Yeah. So people are like, well, hold on. You dreamed a dream? And he's like, sorry, I didn't mean to confuse you.
So you're having a dream within a dream. This is
No, I dreamed
an inception.
No.
You dreamed a dream.
Within a dream. No, I dreamed a dream. You know how you jump a hop?
Yeah. Sure.
You know how you breathe by going in and out with your breath?
Yeah, I'm aware. Yeah. I guess I would
That's what I'm
read
trying
like
to say
that.
is that I dreamed a dream. So
No, you lost me again. You
no,
so yeah, you
okay,
did.
I'm sorry. So
Did,
okay, I'm
did
so
you
sorry.
walk
I
a
can't.
walk?
Well, you can kind of think of it like that. I walked a walk. I kind of ran a run.
Ran a run.
I've ran a run.
But what is the dream?
Well, I've seen it in a vision, and that's the other I was trying to say.
Right, now you're bringing up visions. Now I understand. Yeah, that's in
Yes,
dreams,
thank
but
you.
this
Yeah,
is a
sorry.
rational man.
I didn't mean to confuse you or confound
No,
you.
sorry,
but-
I'm the idiot.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean. No. You're not the idiot. No, it's okay. It just happens. You know,
No, I have
miscommunication.
brought so much dishonor.
All right, verse number 3. And behold, because of the thing which I have seen, I have reason to rejoice in the Lord because of Nephi and also of Sam. For I have
Now we're
reasons-
rejoicing. So like, already, like, see, this is starting up. We got there's grains. They're bringing up dreaming of dreams, and they're rejoicing.
Yeah, they're rejoicing.
The peasants
They're having a good time.
rejoice.
He's
They're having a
stoked.
great time.
Lehi is excited. For I have reason to suppose that they and also many of their seed will be saved. But behold, Laman and Lemuel, I fear exceedingly because of you. For behold, methought I saw in my dream a dark and dreary wilderness.
Ooh.
Yeah,
We're
and it
getting
came to pass-
spooky.
Pretty spooky already. And it came to pass that I saw a man, and he was dressed in a white robe. And he came and stood before me. And it came
Dude, run.
to pass.
If you're in forests with dudes in white robes, I think this has come up earlier. Run the fucking other direction.
Yeah, get out of there.
Just go. Leave. That's not...
Nothing good is gonna come to pass.
Name me the last good thing that came from following a dude with a white hood into a forest. In cloaked white hoods. Okay?
Yeah, definitely not good. And it came to pass.
Do you think this book has maybe some kind of agenda?
Agenda? Or I thought you meant a gender, like he, him, she, her. All right.
It's definitely
yeah, so he sees a man in a white robe in the wilderness, a dark and dreary wilderness. And it came to pass that he spake unto me and bade me follow him. And it came to pass that as I followed him, I beheld myself that I was in a dark and dreary waste. What I love about these 3 verses in a row is they all start with, and it came to pass.
How many is that in a row?
3 in a row. And it came to pass, I saw a man, and it came to pass, he spake unto me, and it came to pass, I followed him. Yeah, so they're just making sure that it came to pass. And after I had traveled for the space of many hours in darkness, I began to pray unto the Lord that he would have mercy on me, according to the multitude of his tender mercies. And it came to pass, after I had prayed unto the Lord, I beheld a large and spacious field. And it came to pass that I beheld a tree, whose fruit was desirable to make one happy.
Hey, I recognize this story. I recognize apples and trees.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I know that. Never even been to church, and I know that.
Yep.
Genius.
So the parallels are already there. And it came to pass that I did go forth and partake of the fruit thereof, and I beheld that it was most sweet, above all that I had ever before tasted. Yea, and I beheld that the fruit thereof was white, to exceed all the whiteness that I had ever seen.
What?
So,
You fucking what?
yeah, so the fruit's really white. One could describe it as exceedingly white.
And it was a reflection of... It said
It was
all the greatness.
It was really sweet.
Okay, right. So, all right. What white fruit? What fruit is that?
The fruit in the tree. So this is Lehi reciting his dream. This is him recounting the dream.
So it's just fruit.
In the tree, or in the dream, he sees a tree. The tree has fruit on it. The fruit's white.
The fruit's white, and so it's a fruit that we don't know.
We don't know. Up until this point, we don't know. We don't know if it's a pear. We don't know it's apples.
Not very
it's
white.
A very
though.
white, exceedingly
Lychees,
white fruit.
unpeeled white lychees.
No, you can kind of think of it as like him. Imagine the fruit form of a Max LED light bulb. That's
tasty. Do you know what? That does sound tasty. Yeah. Do you know what? I think, something I really, really want to try. I want to try it so bad. The Simpsons opening and Homer's in the nuclear plant and the vial, that green vial. I want to drink it so bad. I was so bad. It looks so tasty, and I know it. I don't care. Anything that tastes like it was made in a lab is my thing. I don't like that. I don't freshen out. I want it chemically. So I know it just looks awesome. It's like the Lazarus Pit from Batman as well. It just
you want to drink the goo from the Lazarus Pit.
It just looks like Mountain Dew.
Yeah,
and we don't get that over here.
So yeah, that's true. So the Tree of Life has these pieces of fruit on it that are basically a bunch of light bulbs in fruit form, and they're exceedingly white, blistering white, to exceed all the whiteness that he had ever seen before. So it's the whitest thing he's ever seen. And as I partook of the fruit thereof, it filled my soul with exceedingly great joy. Wherefore I began to be desirous that my family should partake of it also, for I knew that it was desirable above all other fruit. So he partakes, starts to share. It's drugs.
There has been a lot of, and I know we keep pointing it out, but every time it just keeps coming up. Every time the word white is said or whiteness, it's closely twinned with like greatness and pure, like pretty quick.
Yep. There's always that parallel. There's always like this elevation idea with whiteness. So, I mean, I don't know if that's
it's just so there.
It is there. It is so there. It is so there.
It is there.
So yeah, he partakes of this fruit, and immediately he's like, "Dude, I got to get my family eating this. This is great, right?" I mean, from the illicit substances that I've partook in my life at certain junctures, that's kind of the feeling that happens. It's like, oh, this is great. You want some? I don't know if there's parallels there or not, but
you fucking sinner.
I am going to be honest on this podcast. And as I cast my eyes round about, that perhaps I might discover my family also, I beheld a river of water, and it ran along, and it was near the tree of which I was partaking the fruit. And I looked to behold from whence it came, and I saw the head thereof a little way off. And at the head thereof I beheld your mother Sariah, and Sam, and Nephi. And they stood as if they knew not whither they should go. So they're at the front of the river, and they don't know. They're kind of looking around lost. They're like,
I think we had another I dreamed a dream thing, though, where it's like a river of water. Or it's still like the saying something, and then the thing about it.
Yeah, a river of water.
He breathed a breath.
He breathed a breath.
Yeah.
So he sees Sariah, Sam, and Nephi out in the front of this, at the headwaters of this river, and they're looking around like they don't know what's going on. Verse 15, and it came to pass that I beckoned unto them, and I also did say unto them with a loud voice that they should come unto me and partake of the fruit, which was desirable above all other fruit. And it came to pass that they did come unto me, and I partake of the fruit also. So Lehi's like, hey, come here, try this. And they're like, all right, cool, try it. And it came to pass.
Yeah, pass it bite, chew, pass.
Yeah, chomp, chomp, pass, dude. And it came to pass that I was desirous that Laman and Lemuel should come and partake of the fruit also. Wherefore I cast mine eyes towards the head of the river, that perhaps I might see them. And it came to pass that I saw them, but they would not come unto me and partake of the fruit. So he sees Laman and Lemuel. He's like, hey, guys, come on. And they're like, no, Dad. No, we do not want to partake of this stupid fruit.
No, we have a baguette. Why do you not put it between two pieces of the bread?
And I beheld a rod of iron, and it extended along the bank of the river and led to the tree by which I stood. So the rod of iron is kind of like this, like you could think of it like a banister or a railing.
I thought it was like a Gandalf stick.
Oh, yeah, like a staff? That makes sense.
Yeah, I thought... So it's not a staff?
No, it's not a staff. It's a railing, a handrail, essentially.
Where the fuck did that come from? Just from?
Well, he
we're still in
a
his
rod of
dream,
iron.
aren't we?
Well, I mean, they took of the fruit, and then he beheld a rod of iron.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and it extended. I mean, it was at the bank of the river, and it goes up towards the tree. I also beheld a straight and narrow path which came along by the rod of iron, even to the tree by which I stood. And it also led by the head of the fountain unto a large and spacious field, as if it had been a world. So this straight and narrow path was like, there's a rod, there's a handrail, and there's a path next to it. Basically, is what he's trying to say here.
And he's saying at the top of it, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Stunning, darling.
Yes. And I saw numberless concourses of people, many of whom were pressing forward, that they might obtain the path which led unto the tree by which I stood. And it came to pass that they did come forth and commence in the path which led to the tree. So you can think of it like a Lady Gaga concert. Everybody's trying to get to the tree, right? But the only way, like one of the ways to get there is like getting onto this pathway, grabbing onto this hand railing and going forward.
And following the leader.
Yes.
Straight to it, straight to Gaga.
Yes. And it came to pass that there arose a mist of darkness, yea, even an exceedingly great mist of darkness, insomuch that they who had commenced in the path did lose their way, that they wandered off and were lost. So, yeah, a lot of people don't know where to go. And it came to pass that I beheld others pressing forward, that they came forth and caught hold of the end of the rod of iron, and they did press forward through the mist of darkness, clinging to the rod of iron, even until they did come forth and partake of the fruit of the tree. And that's Lehi's basically having a dream about handicap accessible trees and parks. That's kind of how it's going. Like, what are we going to do if a bunch of mists come through of darkness, you know? And they're like, well, I mean, we'll talk to the city. We'll be able to get a guy in there. He'll be able to build this hand railing. Everybody wants to go to the tree. We get it. You know, that's why it's here, you know, so I get it. We understand Lehi.
People need to get there, and this fruit is formidable.
Yeah.
It will kill.
All right. Verse 25. And after they had partaken of the fruit of the tree, they did cast their eyes about as if they were ashamed. And I also cast my eyes round about, and beheld on the other side of the river of water a great and spacious building, and it stood as if it were in the air, high above the earth. And it was filled with people, both old and young, both male and female, and their manner of dress was exceedingly fine. And they were in the attitude of mocking and pointing their fingers towards those who had come at and were partaking of the fruit. So there's this building in the sky, and everybody at this building is looking at the people eating the fruit and going, "Heh heh, losers, you are lame."
Yes, I agree. They are lame. I want to be on boat, floaty castle. That sounds rad.
I mean, sure, but I mean, the partaking of the fruit sounds pretty good too. You just barely talked about how bad you wanted to eat it.
Dude, I'm sure how much ever fruit this tree can produce on this castle, they have more. They have more. They don't look hungry. They're looking fine. Everyone's in their finery. Everyone's having a great time. Let's get there. So
I mean, that's...
this is what they're going to... This is what they're trying to get to.
No, there's just a building in the sky, and a great and spacious building where everybody there is mocking the people down below who are at the tree in the mist, in the darkness, next to the rod of iron, who are going to the tree and eating the fruit. So it's like they're up here, Lehi's down here with other people, and they're just like, haha, these people down there are losers. Yeah.
So they're just being... So it's a bit of a Titanic situation? Of like...
Yeah, sure. You can think of it like that. Yeah.
So in the sky, I need to get a little bit more of a picture of this. So in the sky, it's a castle.
A great and spacious building. So if you think castle, that's a great and spacious building. So you can think of it like that if you want to. It was kind of always depicted back in the day, at least for me, was like kind of like a skyscraper building, kind of like a tall building in the sky. Just not really
tall building, not really
like
interesting.
Steel and glass and like that kind of thing, but more so like in the era of 600 BC's version of a great and spacious building that was tall and in the sky. That's kind of how they framed it.
And it's just floating in the sky, and everyone's having a great time, and they're mocking our guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they were having lovely fruit. That's not very nice. It's bullying.
Yeah. So they're being bullies, a bunch of bullies. And after they had tasted of the fruit, they were ashamed because of those that were scoffing at them, and they fell away into forbidden paths and were lost. And now I, Nephi, do not speak all the words of my father. So yeah, so this is like the end quote of Lehi's dream, and Nephi's like, all right, so now I'm back at it here. This is me, Nephi, speaking again. Just to let you know, I didn't write everything down. And so yeah, all these people that were, eating the fruit were bummed because they got made fun of and kind of like wandered off the beaten path of the tried and true, straight and narrow. But in verse 30 we see, but to be short in writing, behold, he saw other multitudes pressing forward, and they came and caught hold of the end of the rod of iron, and they did press their way forward, continually holding fast to the rod of iron, until they came forth and fell down and partook of the fruit of the tree. So this is Nephi wrapping it up.
That was rather I like how it started. It says, but to be short in writing, and it's one of the longest verses.
Yeah, so that's how Nephi rolls, dude. Like, he's going to let you know how he's going to let you know.
He's going to tell you he's going to zig, and then he's going to zag. And then he's going to tell you that he's going to zig and zag you. And then we'll do it, and then remind you that he zigged, and then he zagged you, but he told you, and now he's zagging also.
Yes, absolutely. Verse 31, and he also saw other multitudes feeling their way towards that great and spacious building. And it came to pass that many were drowned in the depths of the fountain, and many were lost from his view, wandering in strange roads. So these people that partook of the fruit wandered away. They're like trying to get to the building. They're trying to get to the party.
Yeah.
But in being lost in this mist of darkness, they fall into the river and drown and die.
The fuck? That's so bleak, morbid. But okay, we got more deaths. See, this definitely is a dream. We mentioned it before, and it keeps coming back into my head. The Black Cauldron.
Yes.
So much imagery of the Black Cauldron. That's why I see. They haven't mentioned anything yet, but I'm imagining sort of like skeletons in this fountain.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. You can kind of think of it like that. These mists of darkness. Shrouded in mystery and scary feelings. It's cold.
Yeah.
It's wet.
Just
kind of like
all branches start rattling, and then
Yeah, absolutely. And verse 33, and great was the multitude that did enter into that. And great was the multitude that did enter into that strange building. And after they did enter into that building, they did point their finger of scorn at me, and those that were partaking of the fruit also. But we heeded them not. So
now he's saying that he was getting bullied. This is where they started bullying me, and I turned the other cheek.
Yep.
He's being the bigger guy right now.
We're not going to be upset about this.
We're not going to stoop up to their level.
Exactly.
We're going to stay down here, eating free fruit.
Yeah, I mean, the fruit is pretty sweet. And also, I don't know if anybody up there understands how exceedingly white this fruit is. They probably don't know that up there.
Never forget that.
So
yeah, no, as we know, whiteness only grows underground. I don't know where I'm going with that. Onions, I guess. I don't know.
Onions, something about onions.
Something about onions. Garlic,
yeah. Let's see. Verse 34. Those are the words of my father, for as many as heeded them had fallen away. And Laman and Lemuel partook not of the fruit, said my father. And it came to pass, after my father had spoken all the words of his dream or vision, which were many, he said unto us, because of these things which he saw in a vision, he exceedingly feared for Laman and Lemuel. Yea, he feared lest they should be cast off from the presence of the Lord.
Okay, all right. So now he's giving up on the brothers French?
No, he's not giving up. He's just really scared about it. Like, he's exceedingly feared.
He's worried about them and their eternal salvation.
They've been rebelling a lot. They've been murmuring a ton. Maybe the cigarette habit needs to kind of take a step back.
Yeah, I need to pull back on that. Yeah,
they're being
pretentious. We're trying to just We're just having fun, enjoying Mean Girls. You don't have to tell us that it's not. Actually, I take it back. Everyone agrees with Mean Girls. What's a film that everyone thinks is shite? Batman and Robin. I'm just having fun watching Batman and Robin. You ain't got to be pretentious and tell me that, but it's bat nipples. Bat nipples are fucking rad. They need to bring them back. I miss them. I'm having fun. Fuck off.
Yeah. So Lehi's worried about Laman and Lemuel. Laman and Lemuel. He's saying, "Hey, you guys are twisting your mustaches too much. Look,
they're being a killjoy.
The white and black striped shirts aren't working for Laman and Lemuel at this point. You know
We like 50% of your shirts. 50% of those shirts we are loving. There's another 50% that we could just.
Yep, if we could just track it over.
Exceedingly one of those colors.
Yep. Let's see. 37. And he did exhort them then with all the feeling of a tender parent that they would hearken unto his words, that perhaps the Lord would be merciful to them and not cast them off. Yea, my father did preach unto them. And after he had preached unto them and also prophesied unto them of many things, he bade them to keep the commandments of the Lord, and he did cease speaking unto them. And that's the end of the chapter.
And that's the end of the chapter. Wow. That was wild. That was a bit of a Family Guy Stewie does LSD episode.
Yeah. It's a little mixed bag. We see a lot of things happening. The condensed version, to condense it after condensing it, is.
But here's the thing as well. Like, I think I've mentioned this, but it's just every time. All this is just promoting how much cooler your life is if you're a heathen. If you're just like our family are doing is suffering, pretty much. They're just suffering. They haven't really got any return on anything. The profits that they got, the things that they got through murder and robbery and all these things, and then they're talking about how they're being the bigger people by looking at people having a great time. Everything's going nuts in Jerusalem right now. People are drinking, people are smoking, people are murmuring, people got nice drip and gold and swords and stuff. And then there's flying buildings where I'm like, they got bitches on there too. And they're just fucking having orgies, motherfucking orgies, and not like P. Diddy orgies. I'm talking like good ones. If they exist, the ones that would say you and I would have.
Sure. Yeah.
And
yeah, absolutely.
and all Nephi and Lehi are doing are turning their nose up at it, thinking that we're gonna be like, yeah,
they're following the Lord's
I want to be doing what you're doing.
They're following the Lord's commandments, and keep in mind how the division keeps on widening. Between Laman and Lemuel and Sam and Nephi. Sam and Nephi are always goody two-shoes. They're always the one who Lehi's rejoicing about. But then, of course, on the other hand, we have Laman and Lemuel, the elder two brothers. These guys, man, they're murmuring. They're rebelling. They're wearing their pants.
Murmuring, rebelling. They don't give up that shit.
They're skateboarding. They're listening to
Don't
rock.
tell me what to do, okay? I am going to smoke my cigarette, do a kickflip, and produce a brilliant techno house CD. Some way to bring it back to Daft Punk, and I'm happy.
Yeah, so there's this division that constantly is, this wedge that's being, pounded between Nephi and Sam and Laman and Lemuel.
Yeah.
And how Nephi can't not mention that, where is it down here? I can't remember exactly where it was at. But he mentions basically like, he was the one who was included in the one who was positively viewed. He constantly has to mention that his dad was proud of him, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah. So
it's just
how a lot of stuff that come through in this that I resonate with a lot, with the constant way of trying to get people to understand what you're trying to say.
I get that, but it doesn't have to be just so self-righteous about it.
Yeah, there's always that too.
Yeah, but that exists. That exists in people. That exists in Hollywood today.
It's Hollywood, baby.
But
yeah.
Anyway, for now, that was a lovely story, and I can't wait to know what happens next. That was kind of like it kind of felt like another, not a filler episode, but it doesn't. We haven't really advanced in the story. Well, actually, no, we have. I take it back because they got fucked up. I'm probably going to cut this bit out because I've
No, that's fine.
chatted absolute shit. It does explain. It does push the story. I'm an idiot.
But
anyway.
The things that people normally draw from this chapter are that there is something that is said about following what the Lord says and how that goes against the grain of everybody else. And if you follow like Lehi and Nephi and Sam and Sariah, then you'll turn your nose away from it and partake in the fruit. You can kind of think of the fruit as like the truth of the gospel, right? They're partaking in Mormonism. The way to get there is through this straight and narrow path, but it's obscure, it's hard, it's weird. You don't know what's going
Scary.
on.
You could drown. Drown in a fountain.
But yeah, like you can drown
There's
in
a
a
risk
fountain if you don't follow what the church says.
Yeah, I know. And this whole time, you got to be berated by supermodels.
By supermodels who are just like looking down at you guys, and they're like, they're looking down, right? So when you look up at them, like you could probably see some cleavage, and that makes you feel uncomfortable already because
it's the Met Gala.
You're trying to, follow the Lord's commandments, and they're trying to tempt you. Like that's going to happen in your life. You know what I mean?
Ain't no tempting this virgin.
You gotta make sure you turn the other cheek. You know what I mean? Turn the other cheek. It's too tempting. You can't be a part of it.
Yeah, unlike the people back in Jerusalem who are turning their back cheeks and having a great time. Go back to Jerusalem. This doesn't apply to today. This is strictly talking 600 BC.
Yeah. So 600 BC, Jerusalem was lit along with this great and spacious building. And
that flies.
I mean, Lehi lays it out plain and simple, It's a very straightforward dream.
It is straightforward. I don't think there's any inconsistencies. But do you know what? It's got me hooked. I'm invested. We know that these characters are wild. They think crazy things. We got to have a little bit of an insight into their subconscious, which is always nice. Yeah. I fucking love this book, dude. It's just such a roller coaster.
We're in, baby.
We're in. Anyway, thank you for joining us again for Family Home Evening here.
Yes, thank you so much, everybody. If you like this, show, if you like listening to the Book of Mormon and listening to the Pot of Great Price, keep on tuning in. It's a great way to hang out. If you're in a hotel, you can open up like the little bedside drawer. If you're in America, I don't know if you guys do this out in the UK, but if you're in America, if you open up that little drawer, there's a Gideon Bible in there usually, and sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes there's a Book of Mormon in there. So if you're listening to us in a hotel, crack that baby open, read along with us.
I'll tell you this right now. I think I might have told you this. The only time that's ever happened to me where there's been in Hong Kong. I was in a hotel in Hong Kong. They didn't have a Bible. The book they had was the Book of Mormon. That was the only one they had. No, it was English. It was in English.
Oh, dope, dude.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome.
It was there. So shout out Hong Kong. Go to a hotel, open it up, and read along.
But other than that, catch us next week and dream your dreams.
A great price.